And we're back right now to give you guys what's going on, everybody. It's NC, the place to be, children, Mr. A&D, to give you guys an AEW All in London review 2024. I have been into these All In shows. This is usually, it feels like this is supposed to be like their WrestleMania. Usually I think it's all out, but I'm like, but now this got the more big time feel to it. We got Wembley Stadium. This time they didn't have. Last year they did, what was it, 72 to 80,000 people that they had in the stadiums. This one did not have as much, but they still had 53,000 people in the stadium in London. And I was like, that, you know what? That's still good. And they also announced Tony Khan on his media scrum, something like that. They announced they're going to do more stadium shows next year. So I really do hope AEW starts, getting some momentum to be able to sell out these stadiums or get close to selling out these stadiums, especially if, they're going on their, it looks like their journey around the world to do these different stadiums and stuff like that. So I hope it works out for them, because next year also, All In is going to be in Texas in July, and Forbidden Door is going to be coming to Wembley Stadium at this same time next year. So they are switching some things up. So I'm like, okay, I'm curious to see how these things are going to work and stuff like that. But right now we're sticking with All In 2024. Now, I have to say this. I gave my predictions, right? And I have to say this. I have to give credit where credit is due, because there were a lot of things going into the show that I was like, I don't think AEW should be doing, or I will go a different way. They found a way to make it work. I thought it was an excellent show. I thought it was a really good show. I can't compare it. I see people out there comparing to WrestleMania 40 and stuff like that. I'm not into the comparison of the Olympics right now, but I had a good time watching this. Okay? And I usually, because like I said, I found a way to watch it, let's put it that way. But I'm like, yeah, this was turned out to be, a good show. And one thing I also liked about it, also, they had a lot of story-driven matches. You had from Tony Storm's match, from Swerve's match, to a little bit of Darby, but I'll get to that. But there was more story-driven matches. Now, with all that being said, I'm not by no means saying that this was a perfect show. They had some questionable things. That there was a couple of things I was bored on, and some ways of booking that I probably was like, why would you do it that way? So I'm just getting that out the way now before I get into anything else with that. Okay. So before we get started right there, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. Like I said, summer was kind of rough, but now I got my kids into school, and we're still making their transfers again, them new rooms and stuff like that. So I haven't been able to give you guys the wrestling portion of my channel or any kind of content for you guys in a while. So I do apologize for all that. But I'm saying, life is hard when this right here is not your source of income. You know what I'm saying? So, but once again, don't mean I still don't love doing it, and we got to sit here and talk about All In, okay? We're going to start with the pre-show. 0 hour pre-show, the buy-in pre-show, however they want to call it. And usually I don't do pre-shows, and I still didn't see all the pre-show, but a lot of stuff was happening on the pre-show as well. And I was like, okay. Now and also, in the pre-show, because this was the thing, we was trying to get everybody on the card, especially with All In look like being one of their signature shows, if not their WrestleMania type show. So I see we gave everybody on the card. But you're also 2 weeks from All Out. Before they start making announcements that they were going to switch, dates and go to different stages and stuff like that, the first thing I thought of was, listen, I'm just saying, if all this would be at WrestleMania and that goes to All Out, why not just copy WWE, make it a 2-night thing? Night 1, All Out, or All In. Night 2, All Out. You know what I'm saying? And you can do it that way. So, I don't know, but after they make it the changes, I see it's not happening that way. But, just a thought. So, here's the code that happened. We had on the pre-show, I'm sitting here looking at my notes here. Once again, with these reviews, I'm not going to be breaking down move by move inside the match. I'm just going to talk about how I felt about the match. Just a quick overview if I have, extensive notes from the match. But I'm not going to keep doing like an extensive breakdown. It's going to be more of a conversation, to say the least. They had a 6-man tag match, and the 16-man tag match. You damn right. I didn't see that much of it. Then they had a 10-man tag match. And the 10-man, like Teddy Long was booking this thing, right? A 10-man tag team match. I think Kevin Von Erich was out there with Dustin Rhodes, and then he started giving people the claws and stuff. I heard. I didn't see. But there were two things on the pre-show that did happen that they were talking about. They had a mixed tag team match with Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway taking on Willow Nightingale and Tomoishi. Here's my thing. For those, you know, Stokely came out there, and it sounded like Excalibur. I guess it was Excalibur. It was trying to make sure he knew it right. I knew exactly when Stokely came out there, and the font that he had on the Titantron, I was like, oh, this is the Remember the Time Michael Jackson. Okay, as y'all know, if y'all watch anything on my channel, y'all know we Mike fans over here. So Prime hit me up and was like, hey yo, Stokely out here as Remember the Time Mike, and I was like, that's kind of dope. And Statlander's out there, so the winner of this matchup is going to pick the stipulation for them at All Out. Okay, so if this was a 2-night show, it would be like, okay, tomorrow night will be, Willow and Chris. It was a mixed tag match. Obviously, Stokely Hathaway was not getting no offense on Ishii, but Chris Statlander even tried to help him out. She gave Ishii a forearm, but like rocked him a little bit, and then he charged at her. She ducked, and then Stokely gave him a spine buster, the highlight of the matchup, and then he no-sold it. They beat down Stokely, and they get the win. And so Willow Nightingale gets to pick the stipulation for Chris Statlander at All Out. I am going to assume, not right to assume, but I'm going to assume it's going to be a death match. That's how it's something hardcore. If Chris Statlander had won, which are my predictions, I had said about 2 out of 3 falls match, right? But no, but with Willow Nightingale, I think it's going to be something where you're going to have some blood, like, to put it in on a feud. And what's sad is, man, I got that beautiful Ozzy Brothers t-shirt, and now the thing it ain't a thing no more. It kind of breaks my heart. So then we get Saraya that comes out. Now Saraya is upset because she's like, hey, we're in Wembley Stadium and we're in my home country, and I don't have a match on this show because, like Prime was saying, Saraya has just become like an afterthought. Once again, it happens like an AEW. Everybody's like, this is Saraya, this is Paige. Like, come on, man. And then so she's not on the show, and she is saying that the show's not even going to start until I get some respect, which is setting up for somebody. And who comes out there to beat up Saraya? Well, by the way, so Saraya's family's in the crowd and everything too. It's Jamie Hayter. The Hayter, right? Jamie Hayter is back. Come out there, first of all, looking like a fresh Becky Lynch. She came out there with the bright orange hair and everything. When she came out, I was like, yo, is that, at first glance, you guys, at first glance, I was like, is that Becky? No, it's Jamie Hayter. She comes out, she starts taking out everybody, even the male security guards, and Saraya gets up out of there. And I was like, it's great to see Jamie Hayter back. But why would y'all do that on the pre-show? Why would y'all do that on the pre-show? Why not? But you could have still had the Saraya. Now, once again, we had a lot of matches. I understand you got there's time constraints and all sorts of stuff like that. But the way I look at it is, you still could have had Saraya come up in there and say all this stuff and have Jamie Hayter beat her down and have that moment for them when All In starts. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. It just cheapened it to me by putting it on the pre-show. We get to the main card here, and they kick off All In with that Trios Fatal 4-Way Ladder match, which is, once again, a Trios Fatal 4-Way Ladder match. 3, 6, 9, 12 guys, okay? Once again, gotta get y'all on the card. It was the Patriarchy, House of Black, Bang Bang Gang, and Pac and the BBC. So there was, good ladder match stuff. Nick Wayne was taking a lot of abuse, and then they started bringing out these like wood tables that look extremely just light and fake. I guess there was the tables over there in London. They had this one spot where Juice Robinson was about trying to give Mother Wayne, because she was trying to climb the ladder to get the belts. One of them Rhino pile drivers used to get back in ECW off the apron through the table, but Killswitch came in there, chokeslam Juice Robinson off the apron, and did not break the table. Shocking, because of how the tables look. But the match was pretty good, for the opener. It had some cool spots in there. The winner was Pac and the BBC, and the BBC was Claudio Castagnoli, and Willie Uter. So they're all the trios champions. I did not see that coming. I really thought the Patriarchy was just going to win again, but they didn't because we're not done with them yet. We will get to that also. Then we had a match I was really looking forward to. The AEW Women's Championship match. The timeless Toni Storm taking on Mariah May. Mariah May's family was there at ringside, also like her mother and stuff like that. So Toni Storm hits a sunset bomb to it's to Toni for by Mariah May. Then she spits in Luther's face and says fuck you to Luther. So poor Luther, right? Then she walks over to her mom, right? She walks over to her mother. Mariah May walks over to her mother, and things like we gonna give her a hug. Like, you gonna do this, baby? And when I say she slapped the dog shit out of her mama, she slapped the shit out of her mama. I was like, damn. So Thomas was like, yo, no, you ain't gonna treat your mama like that. She go over, she starts beating Mariah May, gives her a Storm Zero on the steel steps. Which then she goes over there and hugs her mama in her bosom. I mean, some people get all the luck. And Mariah May is now bleeding from after taking that pile driver onto the steel steps. Like, these women were really going at it. Then when you get back into the ring, Toni Storm starts to was about to try to set up for something. Mariah May knocks in the corner and starts giving her sweet cheek music. And Toni Storm gets up and then gives Mariah May a couple sweet cheek musics. And then during support of the match, Mariah tries to grab the belt. Luther grabs it from her and then takes it from her and gives her the FU. And then she grabs the shoe that she beat Toni Storm with, but now Toni Storm got the shoe. But for some reason, she just couldn't pull the trigger. Well, Mariah May says, all the time I needed, because she did. And then she hits her Storm Zero on to Toni Storm and wins the match. And your new AEW Women's Champion is Mariah May. I thought this was a really good matchup. I thought it was a great way. It had to happen that way. I did say Toni Storm was going to happen because of my rule that she looked bad on TV when the pay-per-view. But the way the story's going, and once again, it was a pretty good story. They did some great storytelling in this matchup. They did it all, and that's one thing I love about good storytelling. And they did a great job. And these women really put on the show. Next up, we get the FTW Championship. Chris Jericho taking on Hook, and if Hook can't win, he can no longer challenge for the championship as long as Jericho's a champion. Fozzy came out there, Jericho just in an all orange suit, okay, and they performed up to the ring. And I was just like, man, you know what? Kind of getting over this. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, Hook came out there with an eye patch on. Big Bill is over in London. I didn't like what's going on here. He was over in London. So during the match, Hook was selling that he couldn't see. Then towards the end of the matchup, it had like the reveal that he takes off the eye patch and then he reveals that he actually could see. And I got a little crap from the pop. Even Taz got up in there and gave off the Taz mission. I think it was the Big Bill or to I forgot who it was. But then the Red Rumble with Jericho, and Hook wins and gets his FTW Championship back. The belt that means absolutely nothing. It ain't there, but it's just just to have it. So I'm glad. I'm just saying this right now. I know I'm sounding a little bit. I'm just glad this rivalry in this feud is over. Triple threat match for the AEW Tag Team Championships. The Young Bucks taking on the Acclaim and FTR. The Young Bucks came out there looking like Sgt. Pepper's from the Beatles, like the whole Beatles look. I thought it was actually kind of cool. The Young Bucks will end up winning the match because it was a typical Young Bucks tag team matchup that you sit there and can't get all the spots. And like I said, I wasn't going to talk about the spots, but I thought decent matchup. I did not see any of Cassidy's casters. I haven't seen any of Max Caster's rap, and I really wasn't looking forward or looking back to because I don't think he said anything groundbreaking or anything like that. But it is what it is. The Young Bucks retain the right move. I think you still got to try to put some more heat on this very cold EP takeover storyline, and I think them you can't have that without them still having no tag team belts. So the Young Bucks take the win here. Then we had a gauntlet match, and the winner gets a future shot at the AEW World Championship. So coming in number 1 was Orange Cassidy supporting All Black today. Number 2 was Okada. Because at first in the predictions I was like, you can't have a match, you can't have Wembley Stadium show with 53,000 people and not have Okada on the show. And I was like, okay, so yes, Okada was part of this gauntlet match. I didn't know he was part of that at first. Next up, we have Nigel McGuinness, the returning Nigel McGuinness. You know good and damn well this man got a pop in London. So yes, Nigel McGuinness. It was great to see Nigel McGuinness. Nigel McGuinness has not wrestled a match since 2011. That's how long it's been. So it's great to see Nigel McGuinness. Number 4 was Kyle O'Reilly. And then number 5 was Zack Sabre Jr. Brian was happy somewhere. Number 6, Roderick Strong. Number 7, reach for the sky, boy, Mark Briscoe. Number 8, Hangman Adam Page, which was my pick to win. Because it was like a Royal Rumble day. Like after a minute or two, I'm pretty sure it was a minute 90 seconds, the countdown will come on and a new person will come out in the gauntlet like that. And then whoever scores the pinfall wins. So, then at number 9, which I was not expecting, you know, both ways. It's Jeff Jarrett. He comes out with the TNA theme. He comes out with Karen Jarrett, but the man got a monster pop. You would have thought Cena was coming out. You would just, like anybody, or as they call it, the Warrior pop. He got a pop. They was feeling Jarrett. I mean, feeling Jeff Jarrett in this matchup. And he comes in there. I had to take note real quick. As soon as he came in there, Hangman Adam Page, you know, they start fighting after, you know, Jarrett gives the Jarrett punch and start doing his little strut. Hangman goes power bombs him to the outside on everybody else. So I was like, yikes. Then number 10 was a surprise, which we all seen coming. We all knew was happening. It's Ricochet. Ricochet is number 10. And you know what's funny? I know what's funny. He got a nice pop. He get a Nigel McGuinness or Jeff Jarrett pop. Maybe because we all knew that he was coming, but still, it didn't have that pop that I wanted for Ricochet to have. But Ricochet came in there doing Ricochet things, as what he does. And number 11 was Christian Cage. And I was like, what? Christian's up in here. And he coming in limping and from the match earlier. Then number 12, because only 12 guys in here. Usually, I think they have around 20, but for the way this match is going, there was 12 guys. So Luchasaurus comes in. But he comes as Luchasaurus, not Killswitch, Luchasaurus. And he's acting like he's about to chokeslam Christian, like, oh, we finally got the turn, but then turns on Kyle O'Reilly and chokeslams him and then puts Christian Cage on top of Kyle O'Reilly. And Christian Cage wins the matchup. I'm not sitting here saying that I wanted Ricochet to win, even though I wanted them to kind of push Ricochet to the moon, like, you know, come here, don't just be Ricochet over AEW, another company where you could say WWE, but you know, money is money. But I wasn't expecting Chris. My pick on the predictions was Adam Page because I figured they were still trying to continue this Swerve storyline, and Swerve's the champion. But we'll get to that later. Then, so I thought the gauntlet was fine, but I think the finish just kind of felt flat. Cause I was like, Christian just wins it, and you know, and once again, I'm not mad. Christian Cage is doing some of the best work of his career, but I was just not expecting him to win the title. But I think I see where it's setting up at now anyway. This is now things is about to get really good because we have the AEW American Championship, MJF taking on Will Ospreay. And MJF comes out with the red, white, and blue flag Luger tights from '94 out here. And this match was all about Garcia. He didn't want to hit the Tiger Drive because he injured Bryan Danielson with that. And MJF took his title at AEW 250. And so now he finally gets his rematch. So how it's going to go? These guys tore the house down. You can make a case. If you're out there, you can make a case that this was the match of the night. That's up to you. You know, when it comes to me, I was like, it could be tied. Okay, it could be tied. I still don't know necessarily which one pulls ahead for me personally, but I'm just saying that, hey, this ain't knocking on the door. Okay, but the finish came when there was a hooded guy that came into the ring apron. I think to stop MJF from using the diamond ring. And it turns out to be Daniel Garcia. The same guy that MJF beat up weeks ago, like beat him in a bloody pulp when he first came back. He's back, screwed over MJF, and then Will Ospreay hits the Tiger Driver. I think is 98. He hits the Tiger Driver on MJF and wins the matchup and gets his international championship back. Perfect ending, perfect storytelling. They told a great story in this matchup, and along with great wrestling. And I know to some people like, hey, Will Ospreay match got a story to it? Yeah, let me tell you something. Great story, and that's the only way he could have won. They were really setting up and building up, for him to finally go back to use that Tiger Driver 98. So I was happy with that. And I'm not saying it was better than the hour match from 250, but for tonight, it was either the match of the night or tied for match of the night. Then we had the come down match, and this is not the match I wanted to be the come down match, and that was for the TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné versus Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D. The dream match that they had been building to, one of the first matches they had made back almost a month ago, and the return of Britt Baker. And when she first came back, it was hot. I was interested in the story, and then for some reason, it just started dwindling off to me the more and more the weeks went on, right? And Mercedes Moné came out. She had a lot of corgis, come out, got the rich gimmick going on. I felt as though that the match was just all right. They worked hard, and it was almost 20 minutes long, and I was like, that's hard to do following MJF and Will Ospreay. And I'm not saying Tony Storm and Ryan Baker did it, but they had the built-in story that probably could have survived more there than this match did here. There was a time where Britt Baker was trying to out Eddie Mercedes, that's a favorite wrestler, and tossed the chair to Camille, so like she got hit, so the referee can see it. And even though my logic, I'm like, well, if that's the case, wouldn't she get disqualified? You can't win a title that way. But the referee ends up throwing her out. Listen, it's wrestling logic, right? But it doesn't work for the most, because Mercedes when they hit her finisher, well, she needs a new finisher, and she retains the TBS Championship. So it towards the end it got a little bit better, but it just didn't do it for me. And also the next up we got the TNT Championship coffin match, which is Jack Perry versus Darby Allin, which I was like, by the way this match went, I was like, y'all have to be cutting it for time. Y'all have to be cutting it for time, because this match only went about like 10 minutes. Like, to me, it didn't have enough to get shit going, to be honest with you. It was just basically, Darby comes out there with thumbtacks in his face, and Jack Perry's gonna be like, well, where's my glass at? And guess what? He found it in the bag. He pulled the glass out. Even the crowd starts chanting, "Cry me a river," and he gets slammed on the glass. Then Darby goes to top and hits him in the back with the skateboard. But they fight along the ramp. As they're fighting, Jack Perry ties up the arms and legs of Darby Allin. Then literally throws him off the stage through these tables. And then he pulls out the body bag. And he goes and puts Darby Allin in the body bag and puts him in the casket. And then Darby sits up like, Undertaker style. That he does like a running knee or close, I believe it was the knee, to Darby, and then closes the casket and wins the match. Retains the TNT Championship, which I knew was going to happen. He kind of has to do that. But then the Young Bucks come out and they're like, oh no, we're going to set this MFR on fire. So they go and pour the gasoline on the casket. And before they about to light it, then the lights go out and it comes back. And it is Just for Men. Sting is there. I mean, this man had the jet black. He had the black liner around the match. Just in case you see any gray hairs that's coming in, I'm going to cover them things up. I was like, in the bomber members only jacket, I said Sting. He comes out and he goes to take on the Young Bucks and Jack Perry. And he starts hitting everybody. Jack Perry tries to grab a chair. Hits him with a chair. Sting don't sell chair shots, bro. You know that. Sting don't sell chair shots. Jack Perry runs, but then both the Young Bucks get the double Scorpion Death Drop. So, yeah. Sting came back to help out Darby Allin. I knew eventually he would probably come back. Didn't know it was going to be that quick, but I was like, to me, it felt like the match was supposed to be a little bit longer, in my personal opinion. But then we get to the main event, title versus career. AEW Championship Swerve Strickland taking on Bryan Danielson. Now, to me, this is the other match I felt as though was tied for which will be match of night. It'd be Will Ospreay, MJF, or Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland, because they both had good stories to them. Especially because I was critical of this match because I was like, the story isn't as right or isn't as hot as Hangman comeback for Swerve. And I felt as though they should have did that here, but I am glad I was wrong. I can sit there and say that. I am glad that I was wrong because this was an excellent main event. They also had Brie Bella in there with both their kids in there. And there was a time near the beginning of the match, where Prince Nana grabs the ring bell and he puts it on the apron. And Swerve gives Bryan Danielson a Death Valley driver on the apron on the bell, which causes Bryan Danielson to bleed. And you already know Bryan Danielson wanted to bleed, but and that's when the match started getting kicked into gear, stuff like that. There was even one point in the matchup where Swerve was in front of his fan, because Swerve was definitely being the heel in this matchup. And remember those stomps that Bryan Danielson gives? He holds on, he starts stomping the head. He starts doing that. Swerve starts doing that to Bryan Danielson right in front of his family. Like he's like stomping his head in, like there's a puddle of blood like around his head from the bleed. And I'm just like, vicious. But still, Bryan Danielson, like 10 years ago, 2014, I defied the odds, and now we're in front of 50,000 people in Wembley Stadium, and he does put a submission on to he put the label lock onto Swerve Strickland. Strickland taps, and Bryan Danielson is your new AEW champion. And I was like, at first I was like, well, if Swerve going to win because Bryan Danielson is ready to give it up, but he has not had a run with the championship yet. And I can understand that when let him have this run, let this be his final thing, and then he retires. I can see that happening also. Especially since Swerve just signed a new contract, so we're not long as for. So this ain't gonna be the only time Swerve's gonna be champion. But it was a cool run. It was cool to see my man Swerve win a championship. But Bryan Danielson has the moment at the end, and guys, that was all in. I know she might not go too much in detail or anything, but hey, I really enjoyed myself. I thought it was a really, really excellent show. I gave it a thumbs up. What do you guys give it? Post down in the comments down below, and hopefully we can have Prime or Q-Flow add more to these shows if they go and see it. But like I said, thanks to this been struggling with everybody in the summertime, especially August, y'all. So bear with us, okay? So post down in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed my review. Hit the subscribe button for more right here on NC Studios. So once again, this is NC, the place to be. Chilling with your homie, Mr. A&D. And the Nerd Coalition is out.